Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be reviewing a mid-tower case, the Thermaltake Commander C34, so let's get straight to it.
So you may have noticed the surroundings we're in have changed somewhat. Well, that is because we're in a garage. We've managed to get ourselves a little bit of space in a garage, in a family member's garage, and they've kindly let us use this for filming and other things like that. So eventually over time this is going to look a whole lot better. We're going to put maybe a white board or white sheet there, or some sort of colour anyway, so that it gets rid of the garage door there that you can see. But we've got lighting, we've got power, and we've got peace and quiet. Although I say peace and quiet because someone was cutting a hedge or something next door. So if you hear a slight buzzing in the background, it's not us, it's actually someone trimming their hedges. Anyway, on to the case and the real reason we're here doing this video. Thermaltake have sent over this lovely Commander C34. These are brand new. They are about £100, maybe slightly less depending on where you go. We will put links down below in the video description where you can buy yours. We no longer have Amazon affiliates, so we're not going to be putting Amazon affiliate links below. They took the affiliates away from us. That was nice of them. Thanks, Amazon. So let's get on with the unboxing.
So here is the Commander C34. We've unboxed it, so let's get a good look at this.
So we're going to start with the outside, and we're going to start with the front of the case. And I'll show you some B-roll because I don't think I've got the right camera angle to show you that here, but we'll do our best, and I'll show you some B-roll of the fans running a little bit later on. So as you can see, this design, the Commander series, has about 6 different designs overall. So first thing you probably noticed here are the 2 big intakes here. And the reason for that is they've got 200mm ARGB fans in front of all the Commander series cases, which is awesome to see. You can swap that out, and we'll go through that a little bit later on. Why would you want to swap a 200mm fan for a noisy fan? Really? They're ARGB as well, so you wouldn't want to do that really. So you've got the intake at the top there, you've got the intake at the bottom there with the TT logo there, and you've got this nice design on the C34 here, nice and curved, and yeah, just very generally nice. And the plastic doesn't feel that bad either, and it's not going to leave, it's got a funny coating on it where it's not going to leave any fingerprints on it. So if you've got greasy fingers or you generally dirty hands, you're not going to get marks on the case at all, which is really good to see. It's not too shiny, it's kind of, I mean, it's a little bit shiny, but it's not the shiny that you're going to get like your phone screen, that kind of shiny, so that's great. We'll pull that off and I'll show you the fans, if I can get it off. So here is the front panel, hopefully you can get a good view of that. And I did ask Thermaltake if you can change these, because, you know, literally it is just a case, and really the only difference between all the Commander series cases is the front panel. And they currently don't do that, and I don't think they have any plans to do that in the near future. But that is a shame, because if you wanted to change the design on the case, then you just buy a new front panel, not a whole new case. Because actually the case itself is really good, and as I've said, we'll go through that anyway. But that is a shame, but you just make sure you pick the right design that you want before you buy your case. Here you can see the 2 huge 200mm ARGB fans. They literally take up the whole front of the case. I mean, just look at that. You can't even see anything else around it. You've got a sort of soft foam there to catch any dust going in. I don't see a way of actually taking that out. It doesn't actually look like you can remove that soft foam. So you will probably be cleaning the dust out of there or hoovering it out. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, so moving on to the left side, you've got the 4mm thick tempered glass. I normally say toughened glass on that. This time I got it right. It's tempered glass, as you can see there. We're not going to peel this off, so we're going to build into this. Will is going to have this case for his when he upgrades his, and then Will can do the peel in that video, but that's not this video. Moving on to the back of the case, it's business as usual for pretty much any case. You've got the power supply. Yeah, you've got your I/O shield slot there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 PCI slots or PCIe slots, depending on what you're going to put in this thing. And you also have
2 graphic cards.
Yeah, you also have 2 vertical mount GPU slots there, and you can probably get a 2.5 width graphics card in there, unless you're going to water cool, and you should be water cooling. So that is also good to see. You've got a 120mm fan on the back. It's not an RGB or an ARGB fan, it's just a standard Thermaltake case fan on the back, so you may want to swap that out if you want to keep with the ARGB theme. On the left side, it is plain, as you can see there. That's it really, nothing else to see here. Move along.
And as you can see here, this is the magnetic dust filter that goes from the front to the back of the case. And you also get a dust filter on the bottom for the power supply.
So one thing they've changed with regards to the tempered glass on the side, not actually the tempered glass itself, but the way that they connect that to the side. And it seems like, obviously you probably noticed earlier, there was no thumb screws on the glass itself. They seem to have gone away from that on this design, and they have just screwed it in like a standard side panel on your case. So you now just take the 2 screws off the back and you kind of lift it out, and it hooks in exactly the same way as a standard side panel. So that is good to see actually, because taking these things off with thumb screws was always a little bit tricky, I felt, and this is a much neater solution because it's an old one and it works. So yeah, well done. So here you can see the inside, well hopefully you can see the inside of the case. I'll show you some close-up shots of this as well. And it's actually a really, really nicely designed case. I like the fact that aesthetically you could probably tidy the cables away. They seem to have on the right hand side here a sort of cable tidy cover, so all the cables will go behind these. There's no rubber grommets on these, but for this kind of price point I wouldn't really expect that anyway. So all your cables for your power, your SATA, all those normal cables that you would normally see around here, you can hide them behind this panel, and we'll look on the back of this in a bit. It will take up to an ATX motherboard, and obviously you can put in water cooling in here as well, and we'll go through the fan support in a minute. So you've got your PSU cover there, so you mount your PSU to that and then you slide it in to the back around here. You've also got a PSU shroud here as well. That's very popular, as most cases have these, or seem to have these now. You've got a cover if you've got RGB and you want to show that off, you might see the light shining through, or you've got some sort of sticky label that you just want to show the make and model of your power supply maybe. There is venting on the top there. I don't know if you can see that, but I'll show that in B-roll anyway. There's venting on the top of the PSU shroud to help if you have your fan facing up on the power supply to help suck out hot air from your case and out through the power supply. You also get a vertical GPU mount stand there. You don't get the riser cable, you will have to purchase that separately. That's pretty standard. Anyway, those are pretty expensive for good quality ones, so make sure you get a good one if you're going to vertical mount your GPU. So we're going to go through fan support now, and as you already know, because it comes with them, it will take 200mm fans on the front, it will take 120 and 140mm fans. On the back, it's again 120 or 140. On the top, you can mount again 120 or 140mm fans. Now we move on to radiator support. You can mount a single or dual fan 120 on the back. On the top of the case, you can mount a 240 rad or a 280 rad. And on the front of the case, you can mount a 280 rad or a 360 rad. So as we move on to the left-hand side, or the business side, where all your cables are going to go, your cable management and all that kind of stuff, you can see there's probably about 1 inch or 1.5 inches of clearance between the side panel and the actual backplate of the motherboard there. And as you can probably see here, you can mount 2 SSDs here on the back of the motherboard tray. You can mount another 2 SSDs on this section here, or 3.5-inch drives if you're still rocking those. And down here you've got another tray for another SSD or 3.5-inch hard drive. So as you can probably tell, if you can count, you can mount 5 SSDs and 3 mechanical hard drives. Nice. As with most other Thermaltake cases, they come with a built-in controller, and this one is no exception. So you get the 3 fans. You can plug 3 ARGB fans, but it only comes with the 2 on the front. It would have been nice to see one on the back, but that's not to be with this case. But you have the ability to plug a 5 or 6 pin fan in the back there, should you wish to use ARGB in the back as well, using the built-in controller. The controller is powered via a SATA connection, not a SATA pass-through, so you will need to accommodate that in your build. As with the other controllers, you've also got the RGB switch on the front. We'll go through the front panel connections in just a minute. You've got motherboard sync cable there, although there doesn't seem to be a cable actually plugged in, but it could be in the bag on the other side. So it does support RGB sync with the major manufacturers. So we'll post those up top so that you can see which ones that actually does work with. It also has a 3-pin fan header there, so if you've got an older style fan, possibly like the one on the back of this case, you can plug that one into there as well, unless you want to control it from your motherboard. As usual, you get all the front panel I/O connections here, and if Will can lift those up, that is the power switch, reset switch, hard drive LED, and all the usual things that you would expect to find on a case. We've also got the USB 3 connector there, this one. We've also got the USB 3 connector there. Let's get rid of the USB 3 and put USB-C, or at least a different type of connection for USB 3. And your front panel HD audio connection there as well. You also get a ton of tidy up points to tidy up your cables if you're worried about cable management and things like that. They are dotted all over the place, so there's no excuse not to tidy up your cables. Keep it tidy. You've got an RGB button here, and don't forget, if you want to switch between motherboard sync and the inbuilt sync, hold down the button for 3 seconds to switch between the two. You've got 2 USB 3.0 ports there, you've got a headphone and a microphone jack there, hard drive LED and power LED, reset button and a power button there, and they are flush with the top of the case, so you shouldn't accidentally tap those buttons should you have kids or anything like that. They're not push ones like the RGB button there. They are just clicky buttons, I don't know what you would call that, and actually the reset button is slightly harder to press, which is also good to see, so you can't accidentally run your finger over it or push it. You have to really push on the reset button to actually make that do a thing, which is actually really good to see. The power button is a lot easier to push, so it's good that they put some thought into that particular button type to make it harder to reset your computer should you have kids or people that don't like you and want to reset your computer.
So we rated this because it has good airflow and the front panel is unbelievable amazingly.
And the fact that you've got the usual expansion abilities inside with water cooling, tons of fans, hard drives, and the fact that you can hide your cable mess behind with the nice design they've got in the front there, with everything hidden behind that panel on this side, which is really, really nice to see. You've got dust filters all over the place. What more could you ask for in a case? So for those reasons...
So we rate this a 9 out of 10.
Okay, do it again. Sorry, I won't do it this time.
So we rate this a 9 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, click that notifications button. If there's any way you'd like to support us, the links will be down in the description below. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Thank you for Thank you for watching. That was real good.
That was good, bro.
That was good. That was good.